Imagine standing in a crowded mall on a Saturday afternoon when suddenly everything goes silent. A little boy, no more than 6 years old, stands frozen in the middle of the corridor, tears streaming down his face, unable to speak a single word. Police officers surround him, asking questions he can't answer. Trained negotiators try their best approaches. Nothing works. But then, a four-legged officer arrives on the scene. What happens next will challenge everything you think you know about the bond between humans and animals, about the power of silence, and about the extraordinary heroes walking among us every single day. This is the true story of Max, a German Shepherd police dog, and Tommy, a little boy whose silence held a secret that would change an entire community forever. Before we dive into this incredible journey, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This story needs to be heard, and by subscribing, you'll help us share more incredible real-life moments that restore faith in humanity. Now, let's begin. It was an ordinary Saturday morning at Riverside Shopping Center in Portland, Oregon. Families browsed stores, children laughed at the fountain display, and the aroma of fresh pretzels filled the air. Officer Sarah Mitchell had been patrolling the mall for 3 years, and she'd seen just about everything, or so she thought. At approximately 10:47 a.m., security radioed about a situation near the food court. A child, they said, completely unresponsive, possibly lost or in distress. Sarah arrived within minutes. What she found stopped her in her tracks. A small boy stood near the railing overlooking the lower level, his Spider-Man backpack still strapped to his shoulders, his sneakers scuffed and muddy. His face was pale, streaked with tears, and his eyes, those haunting brown eyes, stared straight ahead at something only he could see. "Hey there, buddy," Sarah said softly, kneeling to his level. "Are you okay? Where's your mom or dad?" Nothing. Not a word. Not even a flicker of acknowledgement. She tried again, gentler this time. "My name is Officer Sarah. You're safe now. Can you tell me your name?" The boy's lips trembled, his small hands clenched into fists, but he remained completely silent. By now, a crowd had gathered. Concerned shoppers whispered theories. Maybe he's lost. Could be traumatized. Where are his parents? Sarah's partner, Officer Rodriguez, arrived with the mall's head of security. They checked the boy's backpack with his silent permission inside. They found a lunchbox, a worn stuffed elephant, and a notebook filled with crayon drawings of dogs. Lots and lots of dogs. But no identification, no phone number, no clue to who this child was or where he'd come from. Security reviewed camera footage. The boy had entered through the east entrance at 10:15 a.m., alone, walking with purpose, as if he knew exactly where he was going. But the footage also revealed something else, something that made Sarah's blood run cold. The boy kept looking over his shoulder. Every few steps, he'd glance back, terrified, as if being followed. "We need to find out who he is and what happened," Sarah said. "Call in specialized support, and get me a child psychologist, now." But here's where the story takes its first turn into the extraordinary. While they waited, the boy did something strange. He walked slowly to the railing and pointed down to the lower level. Not frantically, not desperately, just pointed, as if showing them something important. Sarah looked down. The lower level seemed normal. Shoppers walking, stores open, nothing unusual. Except for one thing. A man in a gray hoodie, standing unnaturally still near the exit, watching them. The moment Sarah's eyes found him, he turned and disappeared into the crowd. "Did you see that?" Rodriguez asked. "I did," Sarah replied, her instincts kicking into high gear. "Stay with the boy. I'm calling this in." 20 minutes later, the K9 unit arrived. Officer Marcus Chen stepped out of the patrol vehicle, and from the back emerged Max, a magnificent German Shepherd with intelligent amber eyes and a service record that was the stuff of legend. Max had been with the Portland Police Department for 5 years. He'd found missing persons, detected explosives, and once tracked a suspect through 12 miles of forest. But Max's real specialty was something harder to quantify. He had an uncanny ability to connect with people in crisis, especially children. Marcus had seen it time and time again. Where words failed, Max succeeded. "Sarah." Marcus nodded as he approached. "Dispatch said we have a nonverbal child, possibly in danger?" "That's right," Sarah explained, filling him in on every detail. The boy's silence. The mysterious man in the hoodie, the way the child had pointed him out but couldn't speak. "Let's see what Max can do," Marcus said. What happened next would be replayed on security footage, shared across news channels, and eventually viewed by millions of people around the world. Marcus guided Max toward the boy, who was now sitting on a bench, still clutching his backpack, still silent. The crowd had been moved back, giving them space, but dozens of eyes watched from a respectful distance. Max approached slowly, his training evident in every calculated step. He didn't rush, didn't jump. He simply walked to within a few feet of the boy and sat down, and waited. The boy's eyes, which had been fixed on some invisible point in the distance, slowly shifted. He saw Max, and for the first time since this ordeal began, something changed in his expression. Recognition, not of the specific dog, but of something deeper, a connection. Max tilted his head, that universal dog gesture that seems to ask, "Are you okay, friend?" The boy's hand moved, trembling, reaching out. His fingers brushed Max's fur. And then, something incredible happened. The boy wrapped his arms around Max's neck and buried his face in the dog's fur. His small body shook with silent sobs, but he held on as if Max were the only solid thing in a world that had become untethered. Max didn't move, didn't pull away. He sat there, steady as a mountain, and let this child pour out his wordless grief. Sarah felt tears prick her own eyes. Around them, the crowd had gone completely silent. "Good boy, Max," Marcus whispered. "Good boy." They stayed like that for nearly 10 minutes. And then, the boy did something that no amount of negotiation or questioning had achieved. He whispered something. It was so quiet that only Max could have heard it at first. But Max's ears perked up, and he looked at Marcus with an expression that every K-9 officer learns to read. "Pay attention. This is important." Marcus moved closer, kneeling down. "It's okay, buddy. Max is here. We're all here to help you. Can you say that again?" The boy pulled back slightly from Max, his face still buried partly in the dog's fur, and in a voice barely above a whisper, raw with emotion and fear, he said, "The bad man took my sister." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Sarah immediately radioed for backup. "All units, we have a possible child abduction. I repeat, possible child abduction at Riverside Mall." Marcus kept his voice calm, though his heart was racing. "What's your name, son?" "Tommy," the boy whispered, still holding on to Max. "Tommy Patterson." "Okay, Tommy. You're being so brave. Can you tell me about your sister? What's her name?" "Emma." His voice cracked. "She's 4. The bad man. He took her from the park," he said. "He said if I told anyone, he'd hurt her. He told me to walk to the mall and wait. He said he'd be watching." Sarah's mind raced. The man in the gray hoodie. He hadn't been a random observer, he'd been checking on Tommy, making sure the boy followed instructions. "When did this happen, Tommy?" Sarah asked gently. "This morning. At Morrison Park. Mom was on her phone, and Emma was on the swings. The man came and grabbed her. He looked at me and put his finger to his lips." Tommy demonstrated, his small finger across his trembling lips. He said, "Shh," and showed me a picture on his phone of our house. Our address. He knew where we lived. The horror of it crashed over everyone present. This child had been carrying this terror alone, silenced by fear, desperate to save his sister. "Where's your mom now, Tommy?" Rodriguez asked. "Still at the park, I think. I ran away. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't talk. Every time I tried, I saw his face, and I couldn't." Tommy broke down again, and Max pressed closer, offering silent comfort. Sarah was already coordinating. Get units to Morrison Park, find Mrs. Patterson, and put out an APB on a male, approximately 6 feet, gray hoodie, last seen at Riverside Mall. But then Tommy said something that changed everything. Still holding Max, his face against the dog's neck, he whispered, "Max knows." Marcus frowned. "Knows what, Tommy?" Tommy pulled back and looked into Max's eyes. "He smells like the bad man. Max knows the smell." Everyone froze. Dogs' sense of smell is legendary. They can detect scents humans can't even imagine, and Tommy had been close enough to the abductor to potentially carry his scent. When Tommy hugged Max, the dog would have picked up everything. But there was more. Marcus noticed Max's behavior changing. The dog's attention had shifted. His nose was working, testing the air. And then, Max did something he was trained to do when he caught a significant scent. Alerted. A low, focused posture, his gaze fixed on a specific direction, toward the lower level, toward the exit where the man in the gray hoodie had disappeared. "He's got something," Marcus said, his pulse quickening. "Tommy, I need you to stay here with Officer Sarah and Officer Rodriguez. They'll keep you safe. Max and I are going to find your sister." "No," Tommy grabbed Max's vest. "I need Max. Please. He makes me brave." Sarah knelt down. "Tommy, Max is going to be Emma's hero now, just like he was yours. But we need you to be brave for just a little bit longer. Can you do that?" Tommy's eyes filled with tears, but he nodded. He pressed his forehead against Max's one more time. "Find Emma," he whispered to the dog. "Please find my sister." Max licked Tommy's face once, gentle and deliberate, as if making a promise. Then he was all business, turning to Marcus with laser focus. "Okay, boy," Marcus said, clipping on Max's tracking lead. "Let's go to work." Max led Marcus through the mall at a controlled pace, his nose never leaving the scent trail. They moved through crowds that parted instinctively, past security checkpoints, down escalators. The trail led to the parking structure. Marcus radioed their position while Max worked. The dog moved between cars, checking, testing, his training and instinct working in perfect harmony. Then Max stopped at a white van. He circled it once, twice, then sat down and looked at Marcus. The universal signal, target found. Marcus felt ice in his veins. He called it in immediately. "I need backup at the north parking structure, level 2. Possible suspect vehicle. White van, license plate." He read off the numbers. Max suddenly became agitated. Not aggressive, but urgent. He pawed at the van's side door, whining. Emma was inside. Marcus knew he had seconds to make a decision. Wait for backup, or act now. If the suspect returned and fled, they might lose the girl forever. He tried the door. Locked. He peered through the tinted windows but could see nothing clearly. "Portland Police," he shouted. "If anyone is in the vehicle, make yourself known." Nothing. Max was beside himself now, certain and desperate. Marcus made his choice. Using his baton, he struck the window. Once. Twice. The glass shattered. And there, in the back of the van, huddled in a corner, was a tiny girl in a pink dress, duct tape over her mouth, her hands bound. Emma. Marcus's training took over. "Emma, honey, I'm a police officer. You're safe now. I'm going to get you out." He carefully opened the door from inside, mindful of broken glass. Emma was crying, terrified, but alive. Marcus gently removed the tape from her mouth and used his pocket knife to cut the zip ties on her wrists. "It's okay, sweetheart. Your brother Tommy sent us. He's safe. You're safe now." At the mention of Tommy, Emma's crying intensified. "Tommy? Where's Tommy? The bad man said he hurt Tommy." "Tommy is fine. He's the bravest boy I've ever met. And this," Marcus gestured to Max, who had jumped into the van and was now gently nuzzling Emma. "This is Max. He's the one who found you." Emma, still shaking, reached out to touch Max's fur. The dog licked her hand softly, and despite everything, Emma managed a tiny smile. Backup arrived moments later. Paramedics checked Emma over while police secured the scene. But the suspect was still at large, until Max, once again, proved why he was extraordinary. As officers processed the van, Max's attention shifted. He'd caught another scent. His head turned toward the stairwell, and he gave a low, warning bark. A man burst from the stairwell door, gray hoodie, same build as security footage showed. He saw the police and ran, but he couldn't outrun Max. Marcus released the lead. "Max, apprehend." The German Shepherd was a blur of controlled power. He caught the suspect within seconds, taking him down with precision that protected both the dog and the man. The suspect didn't stand a chance. "Get him off me. Get him off," the man screamed. "Portland Police, you're under arrest," Marcus commanded as officers swarmed in, securing the suspect while Marcus called Max off. "Good boy, Max. Good boy," Marcus praised, his voice thick with emotion and pride. It was over. Emma was safe. The suspect was in custody, but the story wasn't finished yet. As detectives interrogated the suspect, later identified as Richard Crane, a convicted felon with a history of child endangerment, a shocking discovery emerged from his phone records and computer. This wasn't an isolated incident. Richard Crane was part of a larger network. His arrest led to the rescue of 3 more children held in a house 2 hours away, and the dismantling of an operation that had terrorized families across 2 states. But that wasn't the twist that would shock everyone. During the investigation, detectives found messages on Crane's phone from the morning of Emma's abduction, and one message stood out, sent just minutes before he grabbed Emma from the park. "Kid's mom is distracted. Making the grab now." Someone had been watching the Patterson family. Someone had tipped Crane off about the perfect moment to strike. The detectives dug deeper into Crane's contacts, and what they found made the case even more chilling. One of Crane's accomplices was someone the Patterson family knew, someone who had access to their routines, their address, their lives. It was Mrs. Patterson's own brother, Tommy, and Emma's uncle, who had gambling debts and had sold information about his niece and nephew to pay them off. When confronted, he confessed everything, breaking down in the interrogation room. He claimed he never thought Crane would actually go through with it, that he thought it was just talk. But his betrayal had put his own family in unimaginable danger. The revelation devastated Mrs. Patterson, but it also explained how Crane knew so much about their family and routines. 3 weeks after the rescue, a ceremony was held at Portland City Hall. The mayor stood at a podium, flanked by the police chief. In the front row sat the Patterson family, Mrs. Patterson, Emma, and Tommy. Tommy held a drawing he'd made, colored carefully with crayons. But the biggest surprise came when the mayor announced that the city was recognizing 2 heroes that day. "First," the mayor said, "I'd like to call forward Officer Marcus Chen and K9 Max." The crowd erupted in applause. Marcus and Max approached the podium, and Max was awarded the Medal of Valor, the highest honor for a police service dog. Marcus received a commendation for his bravery and decision-making. "But," the mayor continued, "there's another hero in this story. A 6-year-old boy who, despite being silenced by fear, found the courage to ask for help in the only way he could. A boy who pointed out the suspect to officers. A boy who trusted a police dog enough to finally speak, even when speaking felt impossible." Tommy's eyes went wide as the mayor gestured to him. "Tommy Patterson, could you please come up here?" Trembling, Tommy walked to the podium. The mayor knelt down to his level. "Tommy, because of your bravery, your sister is alive. Because you didn't give up, even when you were more scared than you'd ever been, we were able to stop a very bad person and save other children too. You are a hero." The mayor presented Tommy with a certificate of courage and a special junior police badge. But then, Marcus stepped forward with Max. "Tommy, there's one more thing," Marcus said. "Max wanted me to ask you something." Tommy looked at the German Shepherd, his eyes already filling with tears. Marcus continued. "Max is getting ready to retire soon. He's served our community for years, But every good officer deserves a good home when their service ends. Tommy, Max wants to know, would you and your family be willing to give him that home? The crowd gasped. Mrs. Patterson's hands flew to her mouth. Tommy dropped to his knees and threw his arms around Max's neck, just like that first day. Really? Max can live with us? Really, Marcus said, his own eyes wet. If your mom says yes. Mrs. Patterson was crying now. Yes. Yes, of course yes. Tommy looked up at Marcus. Thank you for saving Emma. Thank you for letting Max find us. But it was Tommy's final words that brought not a dry eye in the auditorium. Still hugging Max, Tommy whispered loud enough for the microphone to catch. I couldn't talk that day, but Max heard me anyway. He heard what my heart was saying. Today, Tommy and Emma Patterson are thriving. Tommy still struggles sometimes with what happened, but with therapy and the constant companionship of his best friend Max, he's healing. Emma is back to being a joyful 4-year-old, and she tells everyone she meets about Max the hero dog. Max lives his retirement being spoiled by 2 children who love him unconditionally, taking gentle walks in the park, and serving as an unofficial therapy dog for kids in the neighborhood who need a friend. Officer Marcus Chen visits regularly. He says watching Max with Tommy and Emma is better than any reward he could ever receive. And Tommy? He says he wants to be a K-9 officer when he grows up, just like Marcus, because he learned something that day in the mall, something that changed his life forever. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is trust someone to hear what you cannot say. And sometimes, that someone has 4 legs and a heart bigger than the world. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more incredible real-life stories of courage, compassion, and the unbreakable bonds that make us human. And remember, heroes come in all forms, even the ones that wag their tails. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep believing in the extraordinary.